defined as having no one else present. Lonely is defined as sad because one has no friends or company. In Catcher in the Rye, it's obvious that Holden is alone for a lot of the time, but there's actually more to the story than that. He's lonely. What's the author's purpose then? To show the difference between being alone and being lonely. Holden spends the majority of his time in the book by himself, even in the beginning when he was describing the football game and that practically the whole school except him was there. When he was trying to kill some time before his date with Sally, Holden got a cab outside the hotel, but didn't have the faintest damn idea where he was going. He had no place to go. It was a Sunday and he couldn't go home until Wednesday, Tuesday the soonest, and he certainly didn't feel like going to another hotel and getting his brains beat out. Also, when he was taking a cab to Ernie and looking out the window, he noted it was so quiet and lonesome out, even though it was Saturday night. New York's terrible when somebody laughs on the streets very late at night. You can hear it for miles. It makes you feel so lonesome and depressed. Very introspective of you, Holden. It's things like these and Holden's thoughts that make this book so awesome, and make you want to assassinate John Lennon. Too soon. Never mind. Anyways, there's quite a number of different people in the book. D.B., Phoebe, Jane Gallagher, Holden's parents, Mr. Spencer, Mr. Altoni, Sunny, the three girls from the lavender room, and the list goes on. But Holden's complicated, as we all know. In a way, he chooses not to spend time with some of these people, like on page 77 at Penn Station in a phone booth. I felt like giving somebody a buzz, but as soon as I was inside, I couldn't think of anybody to call up. D.B. was in Hollywood and Phoebe goes to bed around 9, so I couldn't call her up. He ends up not calling anyone. Obviously, there are several people Holden could talk to. He was being considerate by choice. Also, there's a time when Holden wanted to leave suddenly. Mr. Spencer asked Holden, "Would you like a cup of hot chocolate before you go?" Then Holden interrupts with, "I would, I really would, but the thing is, I have to get going. I have to go to the gym. Thanks though, thanks a lot, sir." Even more, when Holden misunderstood Mr. Antolini patting his head, Holden wanted to leave after this, saying that he has to go. He started putting on his damn pants in the dark. He couldn't hardly get them on, and he was so damn nervous. Holden's too awkward. One of the main differences between being alone and lonely is the staticness. Being alone is a fact. If there's no one around you at the moment, you're alone. Simple, period. Being lonely is way different. You could be in a really crowded rave and still be lonely, maybe because none of the people there are actually your friends or something. Technically, you could make a friend at the rave, and you're not lonely anymore, showing how lonely can change instantly. We wouldn't say there's a direct choice of being lonely or not, but it's definitely something that can be changed. Shown previously, Holden is just kind of awkward to the point where he just misunderstands people and runs away from them, ultimately making himself lonely. At times, Holden becomes close to acknowledging that he's lonely, which sometimes makes us even more aware that he is. After fighting with Starletter in Ackley's room, Holden got up and went over and looked out the window. He felt so lonesome all of a sudden. He almost wished that he was dead. Holden even asked if he can sleep in Ackley's room, since Starletter is such a dim-witted guy. Holden even tries to have company, asking a taxi driver, "Would you care to stop on the way and join me for a cocktail?" On me, I'm loaded. Even with his former classmate Carl Luce, who didn't seem to be his friend, Holden still begs him to have just one more drink, since he's lonesome as hell. Mr. Angelini reassures Holden by telling him that he's not the first person who was ever confused and even sickened by human nature, that many men have been just as troubled, morally and spiritually, but Holden just flips out when his head is patted later that night. This all means that Holden has more of a say when it comes to him being lonely, since he tries to talk with the taxi drivers. What we see throughout the whole book is this idea of being lonely yet not alone. While Holden's surrounded by numerous characters, he's still lonely because his mind is all out of sorts. This idea is present throughout the book, as he talks with many people, yet he has cynical thoughts. He just needs to get his life together.